Y'all, cheers to March. And March is all about progression. March is all about just sharpening the tools that we have that God has given us when it is coming to our goals. It's coming to the fruits that we have, talking about self-control, discipline, and spiritual bondage. And you stand in a place that is trying to cause you to hinder the plans and things that God has for you, because you can do that. You can be in a place longer than God has you because of you not being obedient, you not listening, and because you feel like you have to be comfortable because of you knowing a person for such a long time, or because you want to be around friends because you feel lonely. That's corrupting your values and your morals and your standards. So in this video, I want to talk about bondage. I want to talk about spiritual bondage. I want to talk about the things that people don't talk about. I want to talk about lust. I want to talk about perversion. I want to talk about going from a Jezebel to a Proverbs 31 woman. I want to talk about understanding that your belief systems and the way that you think and the way that you operate is all going to correlate with how you move in life, and what goes in things that you want for yourself is going to go hand in hand with that. So let's talk about the problems. So in this month, I want to do a self-examination chart. I want this month to be about us examining our hearts, our mind, going to the belief systems that we have, the things that we have has been taught to us that are true, so say, but not actually true, but it's just causing us to be stuck up in this box. When you are walking with God, the reason why it's not easy is because God is exposing a lot of things in front of you that is no longer serving you, that is not beneficial to you, that is causing you to be limited from the purpose that He has for you. It's basically, God is just a light to the darkness. When you are not in God, you are in darkness. You idolizing a lot of things. You have people, places, and things that just don't suit you well, but it's comfortable for you. The reason why I want to talk about this, and I know it's going to be like a little tug on your seat, is because this is the questions that we need to ask ourselves. My question to you also would be, do you feel like you are ready to die? Do you feel like you have the certain requirements that God is asking you to live up to? Are you living up to those standards? Are you obeying God? Are you walking righteously? Are you being obedient? Are you answering the call over your life? Or are you staying in a comfortable place and doing what other people are doing, and you living up your standards to social media or to how other people viewpoints are towards you? Or are you actually doing the will of God, or are you outside of the will of God? You have to ask yourself these questions, because if not, then you will be in a place where you will always go seeking validation in other people and other places and things, and you will get caught up in the loophole so much that your flaws and your mistakes will start to a problem up in your life so much to where you become in this cycle to where you feel lonely, you feel isolated, you feel just depleted, you feel like you don't have no call in the real world, but you actually do. It's just that you are not in full alignment how you're supposed to be. So that's the questions that you need to ask yourself. Is the relationship in your life serving you, or is it a spiritual bondage that is causing harm to you? That is a question you have to ask yourself. Because if a person understood God's love and a person was in the will of God, a person would treat you with love, a person would treat you with respect, their fruits is going to outlive any type of lie, anything that people say about them, anything that is contradicting who they are. That's something that you have to ask. Because if you don't ask these realistic questions, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you could become pregnant with this person, or you can find yourself in a situation where, if it's a male that is listening to this, you can find yourself getting someone else pregnant that you don't see in the long run. Like, you start asking yourself these questions because it's important. If someone is not matching up to any standards, morals, and values, and it's not aligning, but you feel like it's going to be suitable for you just because of how long you knew someone, or because of you loving someone so much to the point where you can't let them go, I'm here to tell you that it's no person on this earth, no one at all, is worth giving your life over and stepping outside of the will of God for. No one. No one. No soul tie is that strong enough. How do you break a soul tie? How do you break these feelings off? But I love this person, and I got a baby with this person, I'm married with this person. Let me tell you something. We all have excuses. It's the people that talk and the people that actually move. If you want to become a better version of yourself, you have to step into that realization moment, and you got to take accountability for your own life. And if you want to move, then you got to get up and move. If not, the train is going to pass you by. When I sat with myself and I realized that this is my life and that I have full accountability and my life is not over, no matter my flaws, my mistakes, whatever circumstances, whatever people put me out to be, that doesn't define who I am. I started realizing, okay, God, you know what? You always turn things that are bad into my own good. So how can I move from this? How can I grow from this? How can I embark on this? You start telling yourself that, you're going to start moving. And then the things that you feel like is hindering you and your flaws and mistakes is actually going to be your testimony. And God is going to get glory for it. So you break your soul tie off with the relationship, because relationships is a big thing right now. And the enemy love using men and women that are narcissistic, that are manipulating, that are abusive, that is not in the will of God. Because if you was the devil, what would you do? You need someone that is in the will of God to cause their identity to be took and to make them backtrack and cause all kind of distractions to be piled up, so that way you can be far away from God. So if a person is making you compromise your boundaries, if a person is making you feel less than yourself, it's causing your light to be dim, you constantly feeling depressed, you constantly feel like you always giving to this person, you feel like your cup is always empty and this is the other person's cup, it's time for you to wake up. You break these soul ties by the realization, but not only that, you break these soul ties by fasting and praying. You have to do something about what it is that you keep on complaining about and struggling about. You fast, you pray. Fasting is something that I always loved doing. It was hard when I first did it, but this is what fasting is. Fasting is where you sacrifice the time that you normally do something that you love, and you put that time in for God. In my instance, I like to eat. So I'm going to fast from eating for a couple of hours. It could be 4 hours, 5 hours. Y'all don't have to do too much to the point where it's like 21 days or 3 days or 4 days. No, it's just a journey. You do until you can't anymore. God is not looking at how long you do it. He's looking at the sacrifice you are putting on the table. But he don't want no baby sacrifices just saying that you did it. He actually wants you to sacrifice the thing that you have so much love for. So if you feel like you in that relationship and it's causing you to have a spiritual bondage and it's causing you to be hindered and you not walking into your full assignment, then you put that relationship on the table. You say, God, if this is the person for me, I want you to show me that clarity and revelation, God. I want you to show me the things that I am not seeing, because I am spiritually blinded and I am spiritually oppressed when it comes to this person. So I can't see the things how you want me to see it. So when you go into a fast, you start to get that clarity. You start to get that revelation. You start to understand your identity. Because I'm here to tell you now, the reason why you tied to that person is because you attracted that person to your brokenness. That's the only reason why you tied to that person. Because a healed person is not going to go back to something that broke them. They're not going to go back to something that is constantly reminding them of the pieces of them sitting down, being broke, and then having to heal from it. That's the only reason why. When I was in a relationship that took me a long time to get out of because it was no longer serving me, and it took me like 7 times to keep on learning. But you know what God told me? I could have been out of that situation if I would have been obedient and moved the first time. That means that every single time that I went back and I stayed in something that wasn't for me, do you know what happened? I lost things. I lost my mind. I lost my sanity. I lost my identity. I lost so much things that I work hard for because of me not being obedient and me not listening. Because one thing about it is that you may not lose that person. That person may be around you just so God can show you. You might not lose that person right now, but you're going to lose yourself. And that's going to be hard to get back. It's hard to get your spark back. You're going to need God to get your spark back. So that's why it's so important to fast and to pray and sit before God and ask him to examine the parts of you that you don't want to look into. If God is pulling on your heart through this video and you feel like he's talking to you and you feel as if that hole in that place that you don't want to talk about is getting pulled on, you need to sit down. You need to stop resisting that feeling, and you need to allow that feeling to come over you and feel those emotions. Like realistically and logically, we don't stay in something that is not for us when we heal. We just stay in something because of the trauma bonds. We stay in something because we confuse lust with love. We stay in something that our old self is reminding us of our inner childhood wounds. Because I know me now, and me getting my identity back and me working hard more than ever to get my spark back, I'm not going back to nothing that broke me. I'm just not. I'm not doing it because I know all of the things that I'm going to lose. I know the purpose that I'm going to lose. I see myself and where I am going, and if it's not benefiting me and it's not correlating with who God wants me to be, I'm not risking the whole will of God in my life for that. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work when I know God has someone for me. God has someone for you. God loves you. Why would you stay with someone that doesn't love you and see the flaws and mistakes in you and causing you to feel bad about the things that you went through, using your trauma against you, using what you've been through, like causing you to be down? It's time for you to get your spark back. It's time for you to shake back. It's time for you to fully lock in with God. So you fast and you pray and you break those soul ties off of you. Because if you keep on constantly staying in something that is not for you, I'm telling you, I am a living testimony of this. It's going to be a point where you're going to become your own God, and you're going to tell God basically, and you don't even have to say this out of your own mouth, that you are becoming your own God and you have the power and the authority to create. So you saying, God, I don't need your help. I'm going to do this on my own. See, God is a gentleman. God is very soft-spoken. God is very, he moves swiftly and quickly, but before he do anything, he always need us to open our mouth because we have free will. So if God is giving you free will, why in the world would you allow a demon to control you? Or someone to have that much access over you when God doesn't even control you? God give you free will. So make it make sense. So that's the big thing that I want to talk about, is because we be so wrapped into society morals and values and standards and what's pleasing and all of these things. And real honest questions you have to answer to yourself. It's not that when people walk with God, we be trying to push y'all to God. It's not that. It's just a simple fact that your life is going to be better when you walk with God. It's not going to be easy, but the things that you are stressing over, God is going to wipe that clean. He's going to show you why you shouldn't do certain things. He's going to show you why a relationship that is not for you is not the way to go. So the second thing I want to talk about is friends. If you have people that is keeping you in bondage, is trying to cause you to open doors that you are trying to close, or distracting you, or you can feel yourself going back to who you used to be, you need to leave people like that alone. I understand that it's hard because I've been in a place like that where I felt lonely and I was depressed and I was like just doing all these dumb things. But I promise you, every friend that you have is going to cost you. So you have to ask yourself, is this person good for my spirit? Is this person helping me get to my goals? Or are they just trying to dim my light, hinder my potential, and just feel they getting the bread crumbs that I'm actually not even eating off of, just based off what they see? Because spiritually, I can't see them how I need to see them, so they just sit next to me. So you have someone that's not even for you, because if you spiritually seen what they was doing in the spirit and how they was moving, you wouldn't even have them around. Because most people that is not for us is our enemies. Most people that are not for us are people that is basically there sitting from the enemy just to monitor us or to throw us off course. You ask yourself that. Are your friends leading you to your goals, or are they distracting you from your goals? Every single time you tell your friend about a goal, are they laughing? Are they trying to do something, giving you ideas? Or are they just sitting causing more distractions for you to be distracted? If you know you got ADHD, or you know you are not a type of person that can't do a lot at all at one time, or you know you're a big procrastinator, then you need to start understanding where boundaries come from. This is something that I learned. I used to always say yes, 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 until I started having self-respect for myself. If I said no, I said no. If you're not correlating with me, what are we talking about? We don't have nothing to talk about. It's like I am in a place right now where if you are not benefiting me, and it's not that you are being mean, it's just a simple fact. You got to understand, if God is taking time out to heal you over and over, because God is never going to reject you, you go and sit to a place he has never called you to. Don't you think that make you look like a fool? Just like Jesus say in the Bible, you fool. You literally are becoming a fool. Like, you have to understand that you don't want to become a fool. You don't want to be something that you're not. So you have to be cautious of that. And you know, like I said before, a lot of people say, well, just because I hang with them, you know, that don't make me to be the person that they are not. Let me tell you something. You may not become that person, but if a person was down to a street and they see them bunch of lions, you think a person is going to point out which lion is going to eat me? No, all of them is going to say all the lions is going to eat me. Not because of the simple fact that you don't want to be like them. If you don't want to be like them, why are you hanging around them? That's a question that you got to ask yourself. Stop trying to make excuses for people that are not beneficial to you. When God is calling you to be somewhere, when God is calling you to be somewhere that is your assignment, that is different. But when you putting yourself around people, places, and things that are not for you, just to say you got a friend, or just to say that you're around a certain crowd or environment because of the benefits that is coming with that, it's going to cost you. Every single time it's going to cost you. You're either going to fall out, your business is going to be told, you're going to constantly have your cup being dried up while the other person's cup feel like this. So that's the second thing. The last thing that I'm going to tell you, you have to come out of spiritual bondage when it comes to yourself. You have to forgive yourself. This is something that I have learned. I've been battling with this. I'm so blunt and transparent. This is something that's hard for me because of the simple fact I have a lot to heal from. And I be mad at myself because I know my purpose. I know my calling. I know my identity. I know different things I'm going to put up with, what I'm not going to put up with, and what I'm going to walk like, what I'm going to talk like. So when I see myself making mistakes or being in a place that I knew I should have never been in, it make me mad. So it causes me to not forgive myself. And then that's when I start resenting myself and my identity starts to shake. And you don't want to self-sabotage your identity, and you don't want to self-sabotage the plans that God has for you. So you want to be in the full identity that God has for you, so that way you don't miss the blessings and delay yourself of the things that he's trying to bring to you, because you're in a standstill point and you stagnant. So get your identity back, get your spark back, and stop allowing people to drain your light and make you feel bad about who you want to become. I would have never got to the place that I am if I cared what other people think, or I just would allow people to just keep on constantly draining me. Enough is enough, and you have to understand that within yourself. When you are fully tired, you're going to know. You're going to see it on your face. Nothing is going to get done. All you're going to have on your vision board is a bunch of pictures, but nothing being accomplished. And whose fault is that? Yours. You can be your own worst enemy. It's time for you to stop being your own worst enemy and pick up that cross and walk again with God. Okay. Y'all have a good day. I pray that whoever see this video, that something just shift up in your mind and something click, and that you just get that clarity and revelation and you be like, yeah, this is my sign. Bye, y'all.